Welcome to Polymer Clay TV. I was going to do this just as a reel for Instagram, but I figured why not do the whole experience with you guys. So I want to make some 4th of July earrings, and I have pulled out a set of star cutters. These are the wide drop cutters. I have some violet ice glitter here. And I pulled out my Sculpey Primo Galaxy, because look at that beautiful navy blue color with glitter, of course. And my white Primo and my cherry pie souffle. Now, I'm not going to worry about like my white. White is impossible, right? It has a few streaks on it because, you know, my pasta machine is not super pristine. But I'm not worried about that because of whatever, right? So here's the deal. I've got this sheet is a number 5 on my Atlas pasta machine. It is quite thin. That's a backer sheet for the red and white stripes. This sheet is a number 2, which is going to be the large star. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out 2 large stars from this piece of clay. That's going to be, I'm not sure if I'm going to also do a medium star. I'm kind of deciding how big I want these earrings to be, but I've got 1 and 2. Let's see if I can squeeze another out of here or if I'm going to have to re-roll it. And there's not enough room. All right, here is star number 2. I usually make my earrings about a number 2 setting on the pasta machine. 0 is my widest setting. I just don't like them thick. I don't feel like they need to be that thick. And if you properly bake your Primo and Souffle clays, you can make them as thin as a penny. And I often do because, you know, one of the great things about making polymer clay earrings is that they can be super thin and still strong, right? So I'll probably, I don't know, we'll see. I might make another set of stars in the slightly smaller size. Might not. Let's just see how it goes. So for red and white stripes, I'm going to back them on here. I'm going to stack this up. And here's why I'm not super concerned about marks on the surface, because I'm actually going to do kind of a mini cane. And all I need, I think I'm going to use this second from the biggest. All I need is to be able to do it twice. So I can cut this in half. I'm going to get my stiffy blade. This is a very stiff, hard blade. I'm going to cut this in half and stack. And I'm going to cut it in half. You know what? It's sometimes easier to make like a thinner slice more perfect. So I'm going to go this way with it. First, we're going to even up this edge. And this is what I'm going to be working with, right? So we'll have thin slices. And it's going to be kind of like a micro cane. If you have a cane slicer, and like a Lucy Clay slicer or a Click-a-Slice, now would be the time to pull that out. I do have a Lucy slicer, but I'm just not in the mood, and I wanted to show you that you can do this with a nice stiff blade even if you don't have a slicer. You might have to practice. Don't forget that people you watch on the internet have been doing this for a long time, and it makes it quote unquote easy for us to do something that is kind of hard to get right the first couple of times. But, you know, I've been claying for 30 years, so cutting off those relatively even slices is pretty easy for me now, as long as I have the right tool, and this nice stiff blade is pretty much the right tool. I have 3 different blades at Create Along. This is the blue steel blade. It is slightly less flexible, okay? This one's not flexible. It can flex only slightly at the edges if I really make it do that. The blue steel blade makes a very, very gentle curve if I press it to do that. And then the long thin blade, that's just a wonky blade that you can do anything with. I like to use that to make cuts with. And I'm keeping all of these, of course, in my blade holder right over here on the side of my desk so I don't lose them or cut myself. So let's get back to this, because these are going to be dangles. I'm going to use my wide drop cutter set to make a set of dangles for this earring. So I'm gonna, make a few cuts here and make a nice wide piece of this so that I can get enough clay to do what's in my vision, which is to just have a really cool blue star with a bunch of red and white striped dangles hanging from it. I know I'm going to use this one. I need 2 of these, and I'm probably going to use this one, so I'm going to need 4 of these because it's going to be like this. So I'm going to keep going. And I'm just butting it up to the next set and pressing it down. I'm not done. I will be rolling this so that they're all really firmly attached. Now there is another pair of 4th of July earrings shaped like a heart on our YouTube if you go look for it. I used some long hearts so that I could get a good area of design. But for these, I thought, well, let's just go for the star. I think this will be my last cut. I think I have enough now. All right, I'll set this aside. I can use it later for something else, perhaps. And then we'll just cut off. Here's how I like to deal with scraps. Until you firmly attach these, you can pull this back apart. For the most part, some of them might stick. Right, the one I put on there first. But look, I still have all this now. That's not contaminated with the other color, so that, because I only had like a scrap of this before, maybe I'd have to open a new package of it. And I want to make another set of stars. So here I can just blend these together and this will be a pink. No biggie. I have some scrap here so I can make my other set of stars, and I'm going to go ahead and roll this out. Might as well explain everything I'm doing, right? So you'll want probably to have an acrylic rod as part of your polymer clay tool set. I used to sell these really fun, colorful bubble rods. I can't get them anymore, but we do have some colored rods so that they don't get lost on your work surface in the shop. So I'm going to roll this. And then one reason why you might want to have a nice flexible blade in your stash is because it works well for this. Picking stuff up off of your desk. Right? I don't want to use my really good sharp blades to do this because it damages them. It wrecks them. Look at this one's been used so many times. I actually broke the end off of it. So there's always a reason for the multiple types of tools that we have in our studio stash. So there's another number 2 sheet of this, and we'll cut out 2 more stars. Now the extra stars, I don't know. It might end up being too big and long of an earring, or maybe not. It's hot where I live. I'm going to the 4th of July parade. It's going to be, 90 degrees, and I'm going to wear a tank top. So shoulder dusters might be just what I feel like wearing. All right, so we'll set these to the side because we're going to decorate them further while I do some magic here. And when I'm working with white, I always like to keep my work surface clean. I keep a rag attached over here so that I can really get this off of here. All right, and first things first, I'm just going to go over this gently with my rod to firm everything down and kind of even it out. Because when you're cutting with your blade, sometimes the cuts aren't perfectly even, and that's okay. But now I know I have a nice, almost smooth surface, and I'm going to go to my pasta machine. First in this direction, and then probably just one pass going that way to stretch it out. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see how I feel about it. This is an unglazed ceramic tile that I got from a home store. Okay, partly because the glaze would reflect light for the camera, but also because glossy surfaces touching your clay makes glossy spots on the clay. So if I do this on a unglazed surface, I'm going to be less likely to have air bubbles and to have glossy spots, and everything's going to be just beautiful. So I am going to gently roll this down onto the tile and cut out the pieces that I want. There's one. I'm trying to line it up so that I get the a stripe going down the middle. I think I have room to go in between with that smaller size that I want to use. So at least for these big ones, I want to line it up so I have one stripe going right down the middle of the dangle, so that they're both sort of somewhat even. And then the other ones I might not worry too much about. Let's see how much room I have to worry about it with. So if I do one stripe going down the center, one, just have to watch my edges that you don't butt up to another shape when you're cutting out a slab like this. Right, I've got room over here to do one more. And then I just need one more to match it all up. So like that. Okay, so we'll just press these all back down to the surface and lay our stars on here for baking, and we're going to decorate these before putting them in the oven. Now we still have some of this slab left, so you get to decide if you want to do anything else here before we bake. So what do I have room for? I do have room to cut out. Let's see if I can kind of line it up straight. Two more of these. to maybe, if I decide that those second stars are too much, I can make another set of earrings with just one short dangle. All right, so that's that. Now let's see if my imagination is on par with my tool set here. So this is my crystal catcher, and when you order these from us, they may be different sizes and shade, like different colors and stuff, but it's still the same thing. You've got a ball stylus on one end and a tacky, waxy tip on the other. And I'm just warming this up in my fingertips here. And then I'm hoping I can dip this in here and add concentrated areas of glitter onto the surface of my star. Now I also have some actual star rhinestones around here somewhere, which I thought would be cool, but I don't know if I have them in the shop right now. And I do know that I have the glitter, so I wanted you to be able to replicate the idea. But if you had some rhinestones or other kinds of sparkles or like a star stamp, anything you want to do is up to you. But this is Violet Ice glitter, and I'm gonna make pseudo stars. So you can see what I did there. Just gonna close this glitter and show you this tool. So this tool will now have some glitter like kind of attached to it, and I can just rub it off. It's okay, right? And it'll be ready for the next time I want to use it. So I decided to just do the points of that and then to make a star pattern on those. So what happens is the tacky surface of this tool picks up rhinestones and glitter, and then when you press it into the clay, it attaches itself to the clay. This is oven and solvent safe glitter, so if you wanted to go over it with resin later or whatever, it's going to be just fine. It doesn't lose color in the oven, and it sticks right to the clay. It bonds itself. To get this off afterwards, you really have to try. All right. Now the reason I like these wide drops is because they have this really cool wide section at the top here that's going to be easy to drill a hole. So I'm going to drill after baking. All right, we're out of the oven, and let's just release these from the tile. And I have to think about construction. So I know I'm going to use these, and my plan was to do kind of this with them. And I have a couple extras here that I'll just leave to the side. So the question is, do I want to do one star with these dangles, or do I want to do 2 stars? That is going to be a really big earring, but I think it'll be a big fun earring because, like I said, it's going to be hot out, and I'll probably have my hair up and wear a tank top. So I have a couple different sizes of jump rings. This is a larger one. I think this is at least an 8mm. These are the ones I use all the time. And I think this is a 6. Let me just verify. Yeah, these are 6. This is my go-to size. I don't like big rings unless I have to have them. And like I said, if you make your earring thin enough, you don't need those big, huge monster jump rings. This one is 8. Right, so I've got 8s. I think there might be some 10s in here as well. No, just 8. 10 is really big, right? So I've got 8 in case I need it. I'm gonna try to go with the 6. I have 2 pairs of chain nose, also called flat nose pliers. These are my really old ones, and I use them generally for holding onto things, and these are my ergonomic ones. and I like these the best, right? So if you can find ones that have a spring in them and are kind of ergonomic for your hand, see the difference? These are just the same on both sides, and these are made to fit in your hand and close. I just like them. And then I have my pencil drill. So this has a rechargeable battery inside, and this is how I'm going to drill all my holes. And I need some glasses. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you on this one how I do this. So I like to start the hole on my surface, which is a hard, let's see, this is a hard tile, okay? Me drilling on top of this tile, there's no way I'm going to drill through this tile with this very low powered drill. So I'm not worried about it, just drilling down onto my tile. Sometimes I drill into a little piece of wood, but not necessary. Right, I'm going to clean up any edges. Look how easy this is. I do not like to sand. Just use your fingernail. If you have any edges from your cutter sticking off on the side, look how easy this is. Just knock it off. It's not that big of a deal. I see people sanding and sanding and sanding, and I just can't be bothered because this works just as well. Why take out all the sanding stuff when you can just knock off that little fine edge with your nails? Okay, and the back, like I told you, using the unglazed tile, the backs are perfect. So I don't have to do anything special to the backs at all. Right? Okay. So now that I have my holes started, what I usually do is pick up the pieces and do this. Just get them to go all the way through. And then for cleanup, I keep a brush and a little cup somewhere near my table so that I can just get all this stuff out of the way. Now, if it were black, if I had like, I make an awful lot of black earrings, and I keep those scraps to use as inclusions and dust to put inside my other earrings because I like the color of gravel, and I will use my black scraps to make that. But these aren't black, so they're just going to go in the bin. All right, I have all of my holes drilled now. So we've got 3 holes on the bottom here and the holes in the top of these. I've got a hole here and here. So my 3 holes, my 2 holes in that one. And I've just got some regular fish hooks. These earrings are for me, and they're costume jewelry for one day. I don't worry too much about what my hooks are going to be. You know, if I was making these for a sale, sometimes I do use regular fish hooks. Sometimes I try to get fancier ones, but you know, it's up to you how you want to do that. And let's do some assembly. So here, I think on this one especially, I am going to need these bigger rings. So let's dump out a few of these and take a look, because I don't want to do a whole bunch of jump rings in between them. So usually, if you were going to use a smaller ring, you might have to take 3 of these and go like a ring into the earring piece, a ring into the dangle piece, and then because they both need to face the same way in order for everything to hang right, you actually have to put a 3rd one. So we're going to avoid that in this tight space by probably using this larger ring. So we're going to open it. whenever you're going into a corner or around a curve, sometimes you do have to go ahead and spring for the larger jump ring choice so that you don't get in a situation where the earring can't dangle. You want it to be able to freely swing. I mean, that's part of the magic of earrings, right? That they swing and they dangle and they're pretty and they call attention to your ears. So I'm gonna see if I made these holes close enough to the edges to use the smaller ring on the outside of the star or not. Let's see. I usually make my holes fairly close to the edge because I know I baked my clay properly. I've been doing this long enough to know that. So I can use the smaller ring to jump this space. That one's weirdly shaped, right? So go like this. Okay, so now I've got my 3 pieces. Oh, that is so fun. Dangling. That's going to be a nice earring, right? So now I'm going to use the larger ring again to go from star to star. And the reason I do that really is because I'm putting the point of one star up inside the point of the other. And in order to do this in a way where nothing inhibits the movement of the other piece, I like that bigger ring. So now we've got this whole big thing that can sway and dangle, and we'll just go with a big ring here, and I'm going to try and find a smaller ring because again, when you are putting earrings together, you've got to have jump rings that go the opposite direction in between, otherwise the whole earring turns sideways, right? So let's see if I have some smaller rings to jump the space right there. We're in luck. I have one that's just slightly smaller, so I'll put it there. And then how I like to do this is I like to hold this finding in my hand and just kind of pop the bottom of it open. I've already got my small attachment ring attached to the earring here. I do know that that ring is a bit thicker, so this hole needs to be wider. And then I'll turn the earring away from me so I know I'm putting it on the proper direction. Pay attention to all of this when you're assembling so that everything comes out right. All right, I'll do this one from this angle so you can see a little better if you're watching this on your TV. Okay, so we've got, I like to do the hardest one first. So for this, I would say that this middle one, see, it's even giving me trouble. The middle holes are always hardest just because you got to get into a tighter spot. So I just want that one done first. It makes things easier later. And if I were having trouble with my fingers, which I'm not today, sometimes jump rings are actually stronger and more difficult to open and close. I would use my other set of pliers instead of my hand to do this opening and closing. But these jump rings are not like stiff, so I'm okay just using finger pressure. That's what tools are for, to do things that our hands don't want to do. Maybe your fingers don't have the dexterity or they don't fit in small places, and that's why you might need an appropriate tool. Right. We also have really fun jump ring openers in the shop. See, now I made this hole a little bit more in, which is why I definitely needed the bigger jump ring for this one. The further away from the edge you go, the bigger the jump ring you're going to end up needing. Thankfully, this still allows the earring to swing. And I'm going to need one more of these medium-sized ones for the top. And then I like to pop that small one on now so that I don't have to try to open that small ring. I just put it right on here and it's ready to put on the earring. Now I just wanted to say that I don't sell these earrings, and it is 100% okay with me if you teach earring making. You can use these designs. So feel free. I know it's a little late for 4th of July. These might just be for you or for a gift or something for your patriotic friends, something to wear to a parade. But you can always use earrings that you see on our channel as part of a class that you teach at your local classroom. So if you want to know more about how to teach, how to sell classes, etc., hit me up. I'm here to help you with that. And I think tomorrow, because I have these extra pieces and I have all this scrap, I'm going to do another one. So I will see you soon on Polymer Clay TV.